What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix, and today I'm gonna talk about, how should I say this? This is more of a personal video. This is just me kind of like, whatever I have in mind, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. So, you read the title. I am no longer obsessed with Japanese culture. Otaku obsession rant. Now, this is not gonna be negative. I'm not here to talk crap about Japan and all that. Right? I'm not here for that. But hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, so my obsession with Japanese culture started in high school in the early 2000s, right? And things were very different back then. Okay, Japanese culture was not that big. I mean, anime was big. Thanks to Toonami and Cartoon Network and all of that. Yeah, anime video games. PlayStation, all that stuff, right? So anime was very special back then because it was not mainstream. So whenever you got your hands on a DVD or CD of an anime, it was very special. But the reason why I ended up loving Japan was because in high school I had this teacher. I was an art student in high school and I was learning how to draw and paint. And my art teacher was this tall Colombian guy. He had to be like 6 feet tall. Tall Colombian guy, blue eyes, white guy, yeah, white Colombian guy. He was married to a Japanese woman, and most of the time he would just be talking about what an amazing place Japan is. Oh my goodness, Japan is this, Japan is that. He would teach us about Japanese art, Japanese gardening, what's it called? Origami. And I used to love samurai history. I used to love the samurai history, the ninja history, everything. And thanks to my high school teacher, Mr. Sagasi, if you're watching this, thank you very much. I became, in love with Japanese culture. The more I studied, the more I wanted to go to Japan. And I said, one day I'm gonna go. And when I was in high school, it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny because the high school that I was in, not only did I had a art teacher that was like really into Japanese culture, but there was a Japanese teacher from Japan teaching Japanese language, and it just so happens that I was interested enough to take it. It was almost as if I was destined. It was like destiny, right? It was like destiny, like oh, like I was gonna end up here, right? So I learned hiragana, katakana, kanji, the three alphabets. Kanji is too hard. Kanji was way too hard, but till this day, I know how to speak some Japanese. Watashi wa anda son desu. Watashi wa andi matrix desu. Um, right? I know how to say some things in Japanese. Okay, I'm not fluent. I just some words, some sentences. But that's how my obsession started. And then all my friends were into anime and anime video games. And then after high school, right? After high school, I started going to anime conventions and I had a blast. It was fun. And I was basically an otaku. I was a nerd. I was a geek. Um, but eventually, something started to die. I think I just started to like. It's not that I stopped liking it. It's just that I was not as. It wasn't as fun anymore. Maybe it's because I was getting old and I was just rearranging my priorities. I think it happens to everybody, right? So I went to a bunch of anime conventions. I had my fun, and then I went in 2019 before the pandemic, before the world got into chaos. I went to Japan for the first time, and I had an absolute blast. Right, 2019, I think it was May 2019. I went to Japan, and I had fun. I mean, I went to Shibuya. I went to that, and as a tourist, if you're just there as a tourist, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be great. I dated a Japanese girl, had my experience. Yeah, use your imagination. I dated a Japanese girl. It was fun. It was just absolutely fun. And I went to Shibuya, I went to Osaka, I went to Kyoto. I had a blast, I tell ya. Now, keep in mind, I was there for 2 weeks, but let's say, if you're living in Japan, like you're teaching English, you're, working there, life is gonna be different. Life is definitely gonna be different than if you're a tourist going there for 2 months or no, for 2 weeks or a month. Life is gonna be different. And then when I came back from Japan, I started to hate United States. Let me explain. Let me explain. Because I started to dislike America so much because the way Japan was built, it was a country that was built for people. You come back to America, America is not built for people. America is built for corporations. In Japan you have trains. In Japan, you don't need a car in Japan. You don't need a car in Japan. You can live without a car, right? So, um, what was it? Oh, I got lost. Yeah, so you don't need a car in Japan. So they have amazing train system, amazing food. If you want to be a full time nerd, you can do so in Japan. You can be a full time nerd. Um, and it's just great. It's just a great way. Japan is good for single people. Japan is good for single people, though. I will say I don't want to live the rest of my life being single. I don't want to live the rest of my life being single. Okay, I want to get married one day. I want to have kids, and similar to America, it's kind of getting hard to do that in Japan because everybody's just so busy. Okay, so which leads me into why I kind of like stopped being obsessed with Japan. So listen, so after the pandemic, 2020, Japan has changed a lot, and thanks to tourism, they are cracking down on foreigners, right? Japanese women are great. Japanese women are some of the most beautiful creatures on this planet. I mean, when God created the earth after 7 days, the Asian woman was like one of the most beautiful things He's created. Okay, and that's just me. That's just me having yellow fever. But, anyways, listen up. Japanese women are great, but many of them are not interested in dating. Hear me out. They're too busy to date. So because they're too busy to date, they don't want to have boyfriend. They just kind of they just have one night stands, you know. And although it is true that Japanese women make good wives, I feel like that is changing, and it's kind of getting harder. Unless you have a lot of money, probably not gonna happen. Right? Unless you're PewDiePie, right? Unless you're PewDiePie, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. That's gonna be difficult. But if you do have that, it's gonna be great. Um, so Japanese women, I still think Japanese women are great, but it's just that it's it's just become harder to live in Japan and stay there, right? Because and even if you're teaching English in Japan, they do this process where like every 2 years you have to renew your visa, and then your pay, right? Your your pay doesn't go up, meaning like your wage, your salary as an English teacher does not go up. It stagnates. It just stays the same. Right. So there's an issue with English teachers over there, and there's a lot of complaints about that. I don't know how they're gonna fix that. Um, and there's just a lot of issues. A lot of issues. And although Japanese people they do like foreigners, they treat you nicely. Compared to other places, Japanese people treat you very nicely. But there is this rising what's the word I'm looking for? There's this rising. It's like they they like foreigners, but they don't want you to stay there very long. I don't know how to say it. They don't want you to stay there very long, and they want certain people to stay there long. But then there's a large group of Japanese that don't want you there. It's mainly the elderly. It's mainly the elderly, and I feel like there's just not gonna be a future with Japan because the population is declining. I don't know how we're gonna fix that problem. I mean, for other countries, it's not so bad, unless you fill Japan with other Asian people, which then would change the culture. But we like Japan because the culture is so different. Um, and so that's more on the economic side. Um, what else was I gonna say? And also, if you if you want to meet a more traditional Japanese girl, well, guess what? You will have to go out of the city, out of Tokyo, out of Osaka, and guess what? She's probably not going to be able to speak English, and she'll know very little English. And you are going to have to learn Japanese, which on average could take you about 3 to 5 years. On average. Depends how much you study. 3 to 5 years is going to take you to learn Japanese. Some people have learned it quicker, but most people, it just takes them a pretty long time. Japanese is a pretty difficult language, similar to Chinese. It's just difficult, the symbols. Because pronouncing it is not so hard, but the writing it is pretty hard. So, yeah, and oh man, I was gonna say something else. So okay, I'll just keep reading. So Japanese. Another thing is Japanese people don't like Japan anymore. They want to leave. You know how a lot of Americans want to get out of America because of the cost of living and the politics and all the craziness that's happening here. Well, guess what? And obviously not everybody. Okay, not everybody, not every Japanese, but there's a growing number of Japanese people that want to leave Japan. It's mainly the salarymen. Anybody who's on a salary in Japan, it's mainly them. They're the ones that want to leave Japan because the work culture has never changed in Japan. It's still the same, and it's just so gruesome. And there's still people, just deleting themselves because of the work culture, or they just pass away at their job. Right? You guys heard about that. We don't gotta go over that too much. So yeah, a lot of Japanese actually want to leave Japan. Okay, not at the same number as like Americans want to leave America, but the growing number of Japanese want to leave, and they'll go to other places like Brazil. They'll go to other Asian countries. They're just tired of the grind. Just the grind over there. Just the work culture. They want something different. And also, being an otaku in Japan is not as acceptable. People actually look down on you. Japanese people are not very fond of otakus, right? Being an otaku is actually more acceptable in America, believe it or not. It's kind of ironic. It's more acceptable in America to be an otaku. Okay. And after visiting other Asian countries, you can still, because I've been to Japan, I've been to the Philippines, I've been to I've traveled, and you can still, when you go to other Asian countries like Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, other Asian countries, you can still get the same thing that you get in Japan, probably easier, probably cheaper, like Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand, right? And you can still get a pretty Asian girl, right? I know a lot of you guys, you want a beautiful Asian woman. Okay, you can still get that. You can still get that. But it's just becoming harder in Japan. It's becoming harder, and it is a lot of things. It's not just economically. It's not just the money. It's just a lot of things. It's just when you go over there, a lot of people probably don't even want to date. There's the whole culture of the hikikomori, and the Japanese, just there's a lot of single people in Japan that just want to be isolated and just not, and just want to be alone, right? You know what I mean? So the reason why I made this video saying I'm no longer obsessed with Japanese culture is because I am no longer obsessed with going to Japan and living in Japan. And although I still watch anime, I am no longer obsessed with anime. I still make anime videos on this channel, right? I make anime videos. Whenever some news come up, I make a video about it. I still, and you know what? I still do want to go to Japan and visit, like go to Kyoto, go to Osaka, experience the culture, eat good food, go to Akihabara, again. I still want to go and visit, but I'm saying I'm no longer obsessed. I'm no longer obsessed with like going to Japan, just living. Like I want to live in this magical wonderland. No, no. See, a lot of people that are obsessed with Japanese culture, it's mainly anime fans. It's like they kind of romanticize Japan too much, or they think it's like this perfect paradise, and it's not. It really isn't. Um, Japan has its own problems, and that's normal. Every country has its own problems. But I think that the people that start out, being obsessed with anime, this is kind of like where they end up at. And after going to other Asian countries, I have found that other Asian countries are similar, right? Yeah, like I said, you can still get almost the same thing that you get as in Japan. If you go to Vietnam, you get a Vietnamese girl. You go to the Philippines, you get a Filipina. There's dark skinned Filipinas, light skinned Filipinas, all beautiful. All of them are beautiful. All of them are hot. Or you want to go to Korea. Korea is similar to Japan, right? You could go to China. China's got a lot of single women in China. You know, if you want to try that. There's also other rising Asian cultures like Cambodia, Laos. Those countries are rising over there, right? Um, yeah, those countries are rising, and yeah, man, I don't know. Like once you get out of the anime bubble and you start exploring other countries, especially other Asian countries, you start to see Japan more of like a normal lens because I think it's still cool to go to Japan, but you start to look at it from a different lens, right? From a different point of view, from a different perspective. You look at it more from you look at it less from the point of view of an anime fan and more from the point of view of like a normal person that just wants to live a normal life. So that's why I'm saying the obsession is kind of over. You know, um, especially because last year I went to the Philippines and I ended up really enjoying the Philippines. I really ended up liking the Philippines. I didn't think I was gonna like it honestly. I did not know what to expect. I did not know what to expect going to the Philippines, but I really liked it. I really enjoyed myself, and one of the things that I like about the Philippines is that for example, in Japanese culture, let's say you marry a Japanese girl, the Japanese people they don't really consider you as one of them. You'll still be seen as a foreigner, as opposed to the Philippines. If you marry a Filipina, the Filipinos will consider you one of them. That's the big difference. That is the big difference. And I'm gonna leave it there. This video is pretty long, but I kind of wanted to put this out there because I know a lot of you guys are still think that the Japan is this amazing culture. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Almost forgot. I know that the Japanese are fighting back against all the Western ideologies that are going over there, and all the corporations like BlackRock trying to like control Japan and colonize Japan and tell them what to do with their anime and their culture. Um, the Japanese are fighting hard against that, but it's slowly creeping in. It's slowly creeping in because there is a group of people in Japan that are absolutely okay with things like mass immigration, with other things such as the rainbow stuff, all the rainbow stuff. You know what I'm talking about? All the DEI stuff. Yeah, there's people in Japan that are absolutely okay with that. And there's people in Japan that are very anti-anime. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I don't know what else to say in this video, but I just wanted to speak my mind here. So, whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Everybody's your boy and the Matrix. Godspeed.